I don't know what it is, but whenever Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine says bub, it always just gets me going. I just love when he says that. I don't know what it is. He said it in this movie. I like squealed in my seat when I was in the theater. I was like, ugh, I love when he says that. I have like a little nerdgasm. I think that's awesome. He said it. He also said it another time. I remember him saying it was in X-Men Origins. He was like, "Come on, bub, for old time's sake." And then Blob was like, "Did you just call me Blob?" And then, you know what, why did I bring Origins up? I think most of you are trying to forget about that movie. Sorry I mentioned it. Actually, after watching this movie, apparently Origins never existed. X-Men Origins Wolverine never existed, so there's that. But anyway, hey there guys, what's up? That was a long intro, but let's get into my movie review. I have another review for you guys today. I went to the theater today to watch another one of my most highly anticipated films of the year. It is the newest addition to the X-Men series, and it is X-Men Days of Future Past. That's right, guys. X-Men Days of Future Past is now out in theaters, and I know a lot of you guys, along with myself, was really hyping up X-Men Days of Future Past. Now, just to let you guys know, I'm not a huge diehard fan of the X-Men films. I like them. They're not my favorite superhero, comic book series, but I really do enjoy them, without a doubt. I'm just more of a bigger fan of, the Dark Knight movies and, of course, the Avengers, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I still love the X-Men films on the side. And when I heard that they were getting this crazy cast all together in one movie, they're taking the cast from the original 3 X-Men movies, taking them and putting them in this movie, along with the cast from X-Men First Class. I got so pumped for this movie. And the fact that Bryan Singer, who directed the first 2 X-Men movies, was coming back to direct Days of Future Past, I knew this movie had the potential to succeed with the fact they were bringing in the Sentinels, and I knew this movie had so many good things going for it. And after watching it, guys, I was right. All of the hype that I had, all of the excitement I had surrounding this movie paid off, because X-Men Days of Future Past was freaking awesome. This is easily, hands down, the best X-Men movie ever made, and the best movie of the summer movie season so far. We just started, basically, but this is easily the best film of the summer so far. We still got a whole summer left to go, but this was great. This is going to be up there. I loved this movie. It wasn't without flaws, but I just was so fascinated by the fact that I was watching a good X-Men movie. I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved First Class. There were some crappy X-Men films, though, like I mentioned. Origins, I didn't hate Origins, though, I didn't hate the X-Men films that get hated on. But, this was just superb. Definitely above everything else. So I can't wait to get into it. So let's get into the actual review, guys. The first thing I'm going to start talking about in this video is, of course, the plot of the film. I'm basically going to sum up what's going on in the movie without spoiling anything. Now, I can't wait to discuss spoilers for Days of Future Past, and I am, but I'm going to put up a spoiler-filled review probably Sunday night, maybe Monday morning, or early Monday morning. Memorial Day weekend, I'll give you guys a chance to see the movie, and then I'll put up my review, my spoiler-filled review. But anyway, getting into the plot without spoiling anything. The X-Men, other mutants alike, other mutants around the world, and the human race have basically come against a new threat. A new threat has emerged, and it is massive. Let's just say that much. It is the threat of the Sentinels. The Sentinels who are taking out mutants and oppressing the humans. It is just absolute chaos. The Sentinels are going to completely wipe everything out, basically, and take over entirely if the X-Men don't do something to stop the threat of the Sentinels. So, it is the plan of Charles Xavier and Eric Lenger, aka Professor X and Magneto, who are working together to bring an end to the Sentinels. They decide to send Wolverine, played by Hugh Jackman, back into the past to put an end to the Sentinels, so it will provide for a better future for our characters. So the Sentinels, Wolverine has to be sent back into the past through time travel to stop a certain event from happening, which sparked the beginning of the creation of the Sentinels and, the unleashing of the Sentinels, I should say, which is what's killing all the mutants off and, also oppressing some of the humans. So that is Wolverine's main job in this movie. He's got to go back to the past of the 1970s, meet with the young Charles Xavier and the young Eric Lensher, and he has to get them to work with him to stop the unleashing of the Sentinels. And that's all I really want to give away in regards to the plot. But basically, if you've seen the trailers, you basically know what's going on in that movie. That in this movie, that's basically what's being summed up in the trailers. In case the trailers ever got too confusing for you, if you're not a huge fan of the franchise and you haven't watched all the films, I think you really need to watch Last Stand and First Class before you go into this movie. But it would always be good to watch all of them, of course. But anyway, there are a few other side notes I just want to mention that were, parts of the plot that I want to briefly mention without spoiling anything. Something I found that was cool with the writing was that Mystique has a much bigger role in this movie than she did. Don't get me wrong, she's always had a big role in the first 3 X-Men movies, well, the first 2. But her role in this, I felt, was a lot more crucial than anything she's done in the first 2 movies. And I really liked what purpose her character had in this movie, what her character was trying to do, essentially, in the past. And that's all I really want to say without giving anything away. I also liked the strained relationship, seeing the strained relationship after the events of X-Men First Class, that strained relationship of Charles and Eric. Of course, Magneto and Professor X, with the way X-Men First Class ended, things didn't end that well for Charles. So just the fact that that has such an emotional toll on him with the events that happened at the end of First Class was really cool to see, in my opinion. The story writing for X-Men Days of Future Past was just near perfect, in my opinion. It tied in so well to X-Men First Class. Only problem is there are a lot of errors in comparing this movie to X-Men Origins Wolverine, which I even read an article online. They literally publicly announced that Origins Wolverine had absolutely nothing. Origins Wolverine should have never existed. They basically said that in like an article I found online, that Wolverine should have never existed, the X-Men Origins Wolverine, and has nothing to do with what else is going on in the series, especially with this movie, because there's a lot of plot holes in regards to both movies. But anyway, getting past all that, that's basically what's going on in the film, and that's all I really want to say. I didn't really give anything away either, but it's kind of cool to see Wolverine go back into the past, find his body in the past, and he's got to talk to the young Charles and the young Xavier to get them to stop the unleashing of the Sentinels. They need his help, because they don't know how bad things are in the future, and he's got to try to convince them, listen, I need your help here. And that is what made this movie so entertaining, in my opinion. Now, this movie has an absolutely insane cast. Easily the best ensemble cast of the year so far. I literally am not going to remember everyone's name, so I'm literally going on my phone, and I'm going to read the cast, every single important cast member, every single main cast member in the movie. Now, let me read off all the main ones. Here's the cast for this movie. I'm not going to talk about each and every single actor. All I'm going to say is this much. Every single actor that is in their scenes, while some of the characters didn't get enough screen time like they should have, I feel that every actor that did get enough screen time was excellent. So we have, in this movie, we have Hugh Jackman, James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence, Halle Berry, Anna Paquin, Ellen Page, Nicholas Hoult, Shawn Ashmore, Peter Dinklage, Ian McKellen, and Patrick Stewart. Wow, that's a lot of names, okay? And everybody is great. Now, while I feel that a lot of the characters in the future, namely like Storm and even the older versions of Professor X and Magneto, while they didn't really get enough screen time, it was for a specific reason. This movie mainly focuses on the story that's going on in the past, besides from what's going on in the future. They show us a few scenes of what's going on in the future with the problem with the Sentinels, but this movie is more so centered on what's going on in the past. So I just wanted to make you guys aware of that. But this cast was absolutely great. Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, do I have to even get into it? He is excellent, born to play this role, okay? It's Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. James McAvoy, I loved when they cast him in First Class, and to see him, having that fun kind of lifestyle, he was like living the life of a party. He was smart, intelligent, but he was also, out drinking, hitting up bars and everything. To see him, living life and enjoying it, to now what he's gone to in this movie, he's all depressed. You could tell he was beaten after what happened in the end of X-Men First Class. Just to see that transition was great, and James McAvoy pulled it off so well. There was a strong level of emotion in his character, and I think he pulled it off excellently. Michael Fassbender is just incredible as Magneto, the young Magneto, and of course the two actors who played them since the beginning of this series, Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart, are great in their scenes, as always. I just felt they didn't get enough screen time, which I'll get into. Jennifer Lawrence, you guys know I love Jennifer Lawrence. You can go on and say, oh, she's overrated. I love her, okay? I think she's very likable. That's my opinion. She's a great actress, so there you go. Everyone else, Ellen Page, everyone else was really good in the movie. Really impressed with this cast. Solid, excellent cast, in my opinion. Now, moving on, getting into my rating of the film and a few other things I need to praise with this movie. I am going to give X-Men Days of Future Past a very solid score. Not only did I feel that this was a great summer movie, but I found there to be a lot of tension in a few scenes, and there was just so much excitement from everything that was going on. The story was so well crafted and executed. The film was well directed. The editing, all of that was great with X-Men Days of Future Past, and that's why I'm going pretty high with this. Despite the fact that I had flaws with the film, I am giving X-Men Days of Future Past a 9 out of 10, basically an A-, and I love this movie, guys. It's the best movie this summer so far, and I'm giving it my highest recommendation already. Now, like I said, getting into the things I really loved about this movie: the story writing, the directing, the acting, the film editing, the score, the visuals, the action scenes, all of that put together works so well with this movie. Definitely one of my favorite parts was the writing. This is more so a sequel to X-Men First Class, which was my favorite X-Men movie until I watched this. And this is connected into the past so much, and I loved seeing the young versions of Charles Xavier and Eric Lenger. I love James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender, especially together. Jennifer Lawrence, I love all of that, and that was all great with this film, in my opinion. Just focusing on the past was great, and the whole thing with the Sentinels, and oh my god, how can I forget Peter Dinklage as Bolivar Trask. That was great casting as well. Peter Dinklage is awesome. And just the star writing was great. There were some really funny moments in the movie, some exciting, tense moments, and that is the key of great story writing, in my opinion. Moving on, like I said, Bryan Singer back as director was a perfect choice, in my opinion. The cast all brings their A games, without a doubt. The film editing, my goodness, I'm going to say this here, X-Men Days of Future Past is so far the best well-edited film of the year so far. It thrived from successful, fast-paced editing. This movie is so fast-paced. Literally, as soon as the movie starts, as soon as the beginning credits, stop rolling, they show the studios or whatever, and they get into the movie literally starts. We get like 2 minutes of exposition, then they just cut right into the point of the film and the point of what Wolverine has to do, Wolverine's mission, and all of that. They just get right to it, and I love that with this movie. They cut right to the point. The editing was so well done and fast-paced, and I love that with this movie. The third act was perfectly edited and written. The score was great. I love how they threw the original X-Men theme in there. The visual effects, not only on the Sentinels, but on one of the first opening action scenes, was just great. The whole thing with the stadium, that's all I'm going to say. I don't want to mention it. It looked amazing. The visuals were great. Costume design, all of that looked great, with my opinion. And finally, the ending. The ending to this movie, not the last scene, but the overall ending was so satisfying, in my opinion. It paid off, and I was so appreciative of it. I was so pleased with the way the film concluded. I'm not going to get much more into it, but it was great. A fantastic ending to this this tense, pulse-pounding film with great action scenes, really funny scenes as well, and I just love X-Men Days of Future Past for that reason. Has some great references to the previous X-Men films as well. And yeah, now getting into problems, I do have a few minor flaws, just a few minor flaws with the movie. Namely the fact that I think the Sentinels in the past weren't used enough. I think they were given enough screen time. I think a lot of the characters in the future, namely Storm and even Magneto and Professor X, weren't given enough screen time. In the future characters, I mean. I think they could have been given a little more screen time. Even though this film focused on what was going on in the past, I wanted them to get some more screen time. Like I said, the Sentinels I didn't think got enough screen time like they should have for the past. And also the action, while the action scenes that were in the movie were great, I would have loved like one or two more. The movie was decently long. You know, it was like 2 hours and 10 minutes. It's about that running time. But I would have loved another action scene or two in there. More involvement of Wolverine. Like Wolverine, there's a certain disability that he has while he goes into the past. And I'm not going to say what it is. It involves his power, though. That's all I'm going to say. And it was kind of upsetting when he goes to face the Sentinels. That's all I want to give away. But other than that, guys, this is a near-flawless X-Men film, despite those flaws I just mentioned. It was fun, it was entertaining, it was tense, it was so well edited, and well written, directed, acted, all of it, all together. And that is why X-Men Days of Future Past succeeded, in my opinion. Great movie, 9 out of 10, best movie of the summer so far. So, what did you guys think of X-Men Days of Future Past? Let me know down below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you, completely fanboy out in it? I loved it. There were so many great moments in it. And also let me know, what do you think of the X-Men series in general? Do you think it's, are you a fan of it or not? And also let me know what you think about what do you think about the fact that this movie doesn't really tie into X-Men Origins Wolverine, which I will get more into in my spoiler-filled review. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye, guys.